Hello and welcome to our first seminar of the 2011-2012 school year. I'm excited that you were able to attend and hope that you'll gain some helpful strategies in regards to preventing inappropriate student behavior. I am Jessica Smith and I'm the substitute teacher trainer here at Steady.org. I've been here for about 3 years and have enjoyed helping substitute teachers feel more successful in the classroom. So before we begin, I have just a couple of housekeeping items that I'd like to go over. First being, intermittently I will be asking questions. So if you'd like to answer them, just post your answers into the questions area on your menu. There might be time also, there might be time at the end of the seminar to go over a few questions, so you're welcome to submit those questions throughout the presentation and I'll get to as many as I can at the end. And third, we will be recording this seminar so you can view it again at a later date. In the next couple of days you'll be receiving an email with a link to view this seminar. All right, as we begin, I'm going to start out with a question right off, so you're welcome to submit your answers. We're going to be talking about managing and controlling behavior. So what I want to make sure we understand is whose behavior are we trying to control? So go ahead and share your thoughts on the questions area and I'll see what you respond. All right, I'm seeing some people say we're controlling student behavior, which is true, but there's only one person's behavior that I can control, and that's my own. So when we talk about managing and controlling behavior, we're talking about controlling our behavior as the teacher. And when we set up an environment and do things to set up an environment where students can behave well, the increased likelihood of them being on task happens. All right, this webinar we're going to review a few skills that you can implement tomorrow to hopefully make the day a little more successful for you. Now we're talking about and focusing on preventing inappropriate behavior for a reason. And I think Benjamin Franklin said it best when he said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You'll find that there's not going to be anything really earth-shatteringly new. However, these are very powerful strategies in preventing inappropriate student behavior from even happening in your classroom. So are you ready for suggestion number 1? Here we go. Suggestion number 1 I have for you for preventing inappropriate student behavior from happening is to implement a starter activity. Now this strategy, using a starter activity, should be coupled with greeting students warmly at the door. This is extremely useful for substitute teachers for a few reasons. First, it sets a tone for the day. And once you get students on task, it's easier to keep them on task rather than trying to get them on task again later. So going back to setting the tone for the day, in Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, he refers to a study that teaches us how much time a teacher has to make a first impression. The study took college students and showed them a 10-second clip of a professor, and they had the sound turned off. They were asked to rate the professor just based on this 10-second clip. Their ratings, although they only saw the 10 seconds, they rated the professor the same as the students who had the professor for the whole semester. They shortened these clips to then 5 seconds with the same results. They shortened them again to only 2 seconds, and the results were consistent with the students who had the professor for the whole semester. So this shows us that as teachers, we only have 2 seconds to make a first impression. And that impression will set the tone for the rest of the day. So by greeting students warmly at the door and directing them to a starter activity, you're showing the students that you are a professional and that this isn't going to be a day where they can just mess around. So what is a starter activity? A starter activity is an activity that students can work on individually. Instructions may be written on the board, or a worksheet may be placed at each desk with the instructions on it. For those who have the substitute teacher handbook, you already have access to several ideas for starter activities. These starter activities can be as simple as asking the students to decorate a nameplate that they can have on their desk during the period. Or you can ask them to write about the latest adventure they had with their best friend in about 3 paragraphs. Or asking them to write a song that best describes their life right now and why. Anything fun and intriguing will start the day off on the right foot. Likely the permanent teacher will leave a starter activity for you, but in case that doesn't happen, you'll want to have a few ideas of starter activities in your SubPack. Some of you might be wondering what a SubPack is, and we're going to go into that right now. A SubPack is an emergency preparedness kit for the classroom. And here are some pictures of items you'll find in a SubPack. First of all, you need a bag that you can carry around that's easy to manage. Some teachers do like rolly suitcases that they can take in and out of the classroom so it doesn't injure their back. Included, we always encourage that the substitute teacher handbook be included in your SubPack. You'll also see office supplies, the pencils, scissors, tape, staplers, things that should be in a classroom, but when you need them most, they just don't happen to be there. You'll also see the plastic gloves in case you find yourself in a situation where you're coming in contact with bodily fluids. On there we have stickers, and we'll talk a lot later in this webinar about praising and recognizing appropriate behavior. And so these stickers or tickets, anything you have to help you reward appropriate behavior. You'll also see the sticky notes. These sticky notes you can write students' names on and then place them in a file folder in the order of their seating chart so you can know students' names. And if you happen to move a student, it's easy to move these sticky notes around in that file folder. In the other file folders, you'll notice there's 3 on there. We encourage having extra activities, so filler activities, as well as district policies. You want your district policies near you so you can read them during your downtime. Now likely a lot of you already have a SubPack. So if you do have a SubPack, what are other things that you have in your SubPack that you find to be useful? All right, I'm seeing a few responses come in. I'll give you a few more seconds to answer. Some great things. I see crayons, snacks for the substitute teacher throughout the day. That's a good idea for sure. Glue sticks, calculators, tickets for rewards, substitute teacher reports. Great. Band-aids. Now there's a sub who's had some experience. One time I was doing a training and a gentleman was showing the stuff he had in his SubPack, and he pulled out a wrench. And I said, what experience have you had to tell you that you needed a wrench in your SubPack? And he said, well, when I go to the school I see windows and things that just need a little bit of adjusting, so he takes his wrench along to help out the school.